Angel Reese is a champion in the unrivaled that virtually no one watched. People immediately took to social media and Twitter and started posting, look at what Angel Reese has accomplished.
Angel Reese is currently under heavy criticism, and Jason Whitlock is among those openly calling her out. According to the discussion, some media outlets have been portraying her as the key figure behind a championship success story. However, critics argue that this narrative doesn't match reality, pointing out that she wasn't present during the most crucial playoff moments when the outcome was decided. While her teammates were putting in the hard work on the court and actually securing the championship, Angel Reese wasn't present during those key moments. Despite that, some media coverage still portrays her as the central figure behind the victory. However, critics push back on that narrative, pointing out a simple fact: she wasn't even there in the arena when the most important games were being played.
Angel Reese beating her shit. What y'all gonna say now? Now that I have this unrivaled championship that I didn't even think to attend. She went to LeBron James's youngest son's high school state championship game. If this championship mattered, she would show up. She could afford it.
I had no idea that Angel Reese didn't even bother to show up, did not show up to support her teammates. It was that unimportant, but yet took a victory lap that you won a championship? You got to be joking.
So the main question being raised is whether this should really be viewed as a defining moment in her career, or if it's simply another case of the media exaggerating and reshaping the story around Angel Reese into something that doesn't fully match reality. The discussion then moves toward taking a closer look at the situation and examining what actually happened.
We're going to leave the hop skippity do 3000 in 2024. Jumping off one foot, landing on that same foot. Then we're stat padding. Still, I thought we were past this, Angel. Bang! Rebounder in WNBA history. Look at this. Elite rebound. Look at that vertical. Look at the outlet pass. No, Angel. No. Why, Angel? Why? Not the kick out three. Butterpecan. Bang! If you throw it out of bounds, you hate puppies. What? She a playmaker. She's a point queen. Point queen. She making plays for the other team. Bang! Caitlin Clark's not the only one that can make cool passes. I can do it! Me too!
The unrivaled league was promoted as a bold, innovative shift in women's basketball, positioned as a fresh and transformative step forward for the sport, designed to bring new energy and change to the game.
Angel Reese was a member of the Rose. They won the inaugural unrivaled championship last night.
I guess if you want to take a victory lap on that, you can. I just don't know if it means anything.
But in reality, very few people were actually watching it closely. The format wasn't traditional 5-on-5 basketball. It was a 3-on-3 style competition that even dedicated fans don't usually follow. Still, despite that, this off-season style event was heavily promoted and treated in the media as if it were a major WNBA finals-level matchup. Reese's team, the Rose, went up against Vinyl in what was presented as the big championship matchup. However, the issue was that the game barely registered with the wider audience, with many people not even aware it had taken place. Unlike established leagues that draw large viewership numbers, this event largely went unnoticed, even though ESPN made some effort to highlight it and give it more visibility than it seemed to naturally generate. The focus then shifts back to Angel Reese, with the narrator claiming she is the main reason the situation is getting attention. It also states that she did not take part in the final 2 playoff games, including the championship, and was not on the court with her team during those moments. Instead, the narration suggests she appeared to be involved in the celebration remotely. Critics in the discussion used this to question her actual on-court contribution, arguing that her media presence and visibility have been emphasized more than her direct performance in those key games.
Her team achieved this remarkable accomplishment. Angel Reese was so thrilled, she FaceTimed in press conference and celebration. That's how big this unrivaled championship.
The argument being made here is that if Angel Reese genuinely viewed the situation as an important career achievement, she would have been actively involved on the court during the decisive games rather than absent from them. The narrator contrasts this with how other top players, like Caitlin Clark, AJ Wilson, or Breanna Stewart, are portrayed as consistently competing in high-stakes moments rather than missing them. It further criticizes her involvement in the celebration, suggesting that appearing remotely via FaceTime is being framed as participation, and uses that as a way to question the validity of crediting her with a major role in the outcome.
ESPN covered this championship. Chelsea Gray scored 30-some-odd points last night in the championship game. This championship that Angel Reese has added to her trophy case that she didn't even play in the last two.
As criticism started to build, social media quickly came to her defense, almost like a full-court press response. Supporters online pushed back strongly, calling her a champion and grouping this controversial event together with her LSU championship and WNBA rebounding achievements as if they all held equal significance. However, the narrator argues that these accomplishments are not truly comparable in impact or context, suggesting that not every achievement carries the same level of weight.
No, it's Angel Reese! Left alone! Bang! My money, and I want it now! Quarter 3 ball, butter pecan, burn!
Y'all gonna disrespect me and not guard me? Well, hand down, man down.
Burn! McDonald's handing out brand deals for this kind of bag work. I'll take a lot less. Help a brother out! Bang!
Really only need 3,997 more threes to catch Steph.
The narrator concludes by describing the situation as manufactured hype, arguing that the championship is being exaggerated in importance. It claims that if the title truly held major significance, Angel Reese would have participated in all the key games, especially the final, instead of being absent from the closing stages. It further suggests that real champions are defined by showing up in decisive moments and criticizes her remote participation in the celebration as inconsistent with that idea of leadership. The passage then shifts to a broader media critique, alleging that coverage has been actively trying to position Angel Reese as a leading figure in women's basketball, regardless of the underlying facts. Ultimately, it frames the entire achievement as overstated, describing it as more illusion and media framing than genuine competitive impact. This passage argues that the media has repeatedly exaggerated Angel Reese's role and frames the unrivaled league championship as the latest example of what it calls a constructed narrative rather than a genuine sports milestone. It claims the league didn't generate major mainstream attention on its own, but was still heavily promoted by outlets like ESPN as if it carried the same weight as a major WNBA finals storyline. It also repeats the point that Reese did not participate in the decisive games, suggesting that coverage is being shaped more by storytelling and media framing than by on-court involvement or competitive impact.
We're going to build up this narrative that Angel Reese is one of the great athletes of our lifetime. She's right there with Steph Curry, and she's right there with LeBron James. She's right there with Kevin Durant. She's got a championship at LSU, and now she has a championship in the unrivaled.
The passage argues that it is unfair to give major praise to a player who, according to the narrator, was not present for the most important games. It suggests that in most sports contexts, missing the decisive championship moments would normally mean missing out on the spotlight entirely, but claims Angel Reese is being treated as an exception due to media influence. It also criticizes the event itself, describing it as a newly created 3-on-3 format that lacked many of the league's biggest names. It mentions that well-known players such as Caitlin Clark, AJ Wilson, Kelsey Plum, and Sabrina Ionescu were not part of the competition or withdrew, and uses that to argue the tournament did not feature the strongest possible talent pool. Overall, it frames the situation as less of a major competitive showcase and more as an event that didn't include many top stars, yet still received heightened attention. So the narrator argues this is another example of media overhyping Angel Reese, claiming she wasn't actually a key contributor in the championship and that fans are treating her achievements as equal to her LSU and WNBA success when they're not. It says social media exaggerates her role, while real championships should be about direct on-court impact. The passage also contrasts her with other star players, suggesting true greatness comes from performance in big moments, not media attention or online narratives.